Golden State Media Concepts Sci-Fi Podcast. Together we dive into the world of sci-fi and science fiction. From episodes of Star Trek, Star Wars, to The Walking Dead, Resident Evil, all the hot new science fiction movies from the back doors of Marvel or DC. The Golden State Media Concepts Sci-Fi Podcast. You'll never look at science fiction the same way again.
Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Science Fiction Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Shay Northrup.
And I'm the special, fun, exciting, better one.
You know, the one that you're actually here to listen to.
I'm just kidding. I'm Pauline. And you are listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Science Fiction Podcast.
Yes. So today we are going to talk about a new hero that may be coming to the small screen.
Yep.
Legion.
We're
going to talk to you guys a little bit about some Mad Max. Yes. I was going to say Max Power, but I meant Mad Max. And we're going to talk to you guys about an up-and-coming sci-fi movie coming out this year.
Right. Passengers.
Featuring Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence. Fun stuff. So just to kind of kick it off, a new hero that's coming to Marvel that is not Squirrel Girl. So
Thankfully.
There you go, Pauline. Legion.
Yes.
So Legion has been kind of anticipated for a while because there's a potential show that's on the line for a live-action X-Men universe show.
Right.
And I think that would actually be kind of cool. I'm not such a big fan of what FX has done to X-Men in the last couple of years. And in fact, one of the things they don't know about before we even get started is they don't know where it's going to fit in with the X-Men universe.
Right.
Because we all don't really understand the X-Men universe at this point because, you know, the comic books are pretty specific and they all kind of make sense. But the movies, it's like, okay, so here's like 5 movies. Nope, just kidding. None of them exist because we made this other movie. And then, oh, nope, just kidding. None of this even matters. So nothing seems to matter in the X-Men universe anymore. And once I watched First Class and all that, because I liked X-Men 1 and I liked X-Men 2. I thought X-Men 3 was kind of bad. There were things about X-Men Wolverine that I liked. Please don't crucify me. I think that there were some aspects of X-Men Origins Wolverine that were good, although they did mess up some fundamental characters. Like what they did to Deadpool is just a sin. But it's too late for that now.
Right.
So they've basically, with the movie First Class,
yes,
they kind of retconned everything, and then they did some time travel stuff in the one after. I didn't bother to see X-Men Days of Future Past, and I didn't bother to see X-Men Apocalypse because I was so upset. I didn't see
Apocalypse either.
With First Class. Like, First Class to me was like almost insulting. Like, and I know a lot of people liked it, but to me, like, it didn't make sense in the timeline with the other X-Men movies, which I know they've retconned now. And it also, like, it seemed like a really bad joke to me. The whole movie was done in kind of almost like a setup, like a comedy. And it just seemed like a joke that wasn't funny. There was a couple scenes in it that just like made me laugh because I thought it was so bad. Like there's this scene where the butterfly girl, right? She's like, they're sitting behind glass and they're having fun, and these guys come up and like laugh at them, and she's like, I'd rather take my clothes off in front of men than be exploited like this. And I'm like, that may have just been the dumbest sentence I've ever heard in cinema history. Like, I'm like, I thought X-Men was supposed to be smart.
Right, yeah, they are supposed to be all super smart.
So if you don't know anything about Legion, what do you know about Legion? Have no fear.
Well, actually, now I know his origin.
Well, you know a little bit about the Marvel universe.
I do.
You're pretty caught up in that.
I do. I like X-Men. That is one thing that I do actually enjoy. I do like the mutants. I do. I like that idea.
I like the idea. I just wish that they would kind of stop focusing on the civil rights thing and kind of move along with the story a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
And as far as the movies go, like as far as the comic books go, there's so much material they have to work with, but they don't work with it. They don't
do. Well, actually, so I do know that he's Professor's son.
Yes, Professor X's son.
Professor X's son. And this concept, and this is what I do like about Legion, is that He has multiple personalities, which is kind of cool because Marvel released Legion 101. And so it kind of introduces him, and we were able to watch that together, which I was like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. But he has multiple personalities, and they all have their own like powers, superpowers.
Well, kind of, yeah.
So, kind of, yeah.
Well, he has really powerful telekinesis and pyrokinesis.
Yes.
Which makes him really powerful.
Which I think is so cool.
The different personalities can kind of affect his mood and how he's going, and it kind of affects how he uses it.
You're right. So I think that that's actually kind of cool, and I like that idea.
I like it too. Like, honestly, I don't know if they're going to do like an X-Men show or if they're just going to do a show about Legion. I just want a show about Legion.
Oh, about Legion. That's what I was going to say.
I would love to see this character. And later on, he gets like captured and they're like doing tests on him to try to figure out how to get him to control his stuff. But like, I would love to see a show about this guy who can't control the voices in his head, and he's trying to be a good person and trying to do good things with all this stuff going on at the same time.
And then some of the things that happen
because he's a very tormented character.
And trying to see like how he can control it and seeing what happens when he's not necessarily in full control,
right? And
things that may go amiss because he's not. Like, I'm actually pretty interested in him.
One of the coolest things about X-Men, and you could argue that X-Men kind of sent Marvel into a darker direction, because once upon a time Marvel was not this the dark thing that it is today.
Right.
It was a little bit more campy and everything. But like, you could argue that X-Men is part of the reason why Marvel went down kind of a more darker path, because they were a little bit more innovative with characters. They like to talk about social issues, and they kind of served as a platform for a lot of, realistic type stuff instead of, just superheroes flying around and doing different things. Which actually, if you read the first comic book of X-Men, is kind of like that, but it progresses into quite a much, much different thing as it goes along.
So, which I agree. I do agree. And I think that, so hopefully I agree. I also hope that there will be just something just on him.
Right.
I like those kind of movies when they kind of focus on a central character. I like those.
So one of the things that we just found out is that this show that they're planning on doing, the first live action X-Men show, is not going to actually take place in the theatrical universe. Thank God. So I'm not sure if this is going to be an FX thing or if Marvel gets it back. It would be very interesting to see where this goes. And I'm very interested to see, because if they did something like, and again, I'm always talking about Daredevil and Luke Cage and all those other Marvel shows,
I know,
but they're so good. And if we get an X-Men show like that, oh boy, that would be amazing. That would be really amazing. I would love an X-Men show, and I would love a show just about Legion.
I agree. I want to see Legion.
Yeah. I hope it happens.
I do.
Or at least, a series of episodes about him. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's a pretty cool character.
It makes sense with his character.
Right. Well, Legion, the biblical behind.
Right. That's what I was saying. Like, I like that tie-in.
We are Legion.
And all the different personalities that he's having to deal with all within him.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot, actually.
It's good stuff. Speaking of television shows that are coming out pretty soon, it looks like CBS has announced that it had planned to delay Star Trek Discovery by 4 months. So it's going to premiere in my favorite month, January 2017.
No. It was set to premiere in January 17th.
Oh, really?
But they're pushing it back
to May. Wow, I misread that.
No problem.
Actually,
that's better, right?
In May, that's a little bit better.
I was going to say,
Why would you start a show in January? Anyway, so what, in case you don't know about Star Trek Discovery takes place, I believe, 10 years before the original Star Trek. So what it is it's essentially like what leads up to the Enterprise's first mission. Right. Which is great, because that is a completely untapped market. We've dealt with the Marquis. We've dealt with the Borgs. We've dealt with all sorts of things in the Star Trek universe. And now we're getting to see kind of a little bit of a preview. And this does not take place in, thank God, J.J. Abrams' Star Trek. Now, don't get me wrong. I liked the first one. I think the second one is kind of garbage in a lot of ways. Like, tell me this. Do you remember anything about the second Star Trek movie?
Nope.
Yep. Everybody that I ask, even Star Trek fans, what do you remember about the second Star Trek movie? It's usually like, I think Benedict Cumberbatch is Khan. Right. And you know what? Benedict Cumberbatch, as much as I love him and I think he's a great actor, I do not think he plays a very good Khan, because Khan is a very iconic and strong and powerful character. And instead we get
Cumberbatch.
I'm Khan. Like, no, you're not. Shut up. Go away. So, quoting the man himself, the man who's bringing this to us, bringing Star Trek back to television carries a responsibility and a mission to connect fans and newcomers alike to the series that has fed our imaginations since childhood. We aim to dream big and deliver, and that means making sure that the demands of the physical and post-production for a show that takes place entirely in space, and the need to meet an air date don't result in compromising quality. Before heading to production, we evaluate that these realities with our partners and CBS, and they agreed. Star Trek deserves the very best. I agree. And these extra few months will help achieve in the vision that we can all be proud of.
Right. Which I think is a good thing. You know, especially if they
need the extra time, take the extra time.
Yeah.
I don't want another Enterprise.
Right.
Because Star Trek Enterprise was canceled. It's the only, like, people always talk about how Voyager is the worst one. I'm sorry, you're wrong. Voyager has a mix of some of the worst episodes, if not the worst episode, and some of the best episodes in Star Trek history. Unfortunately, they're usually far and few in between.
Right.
But Star Trek Voyager had some good episodes, like some great episodes even. And it stuck around for the full length. The same amount of seasons that all the Star Treks have. Enterprise got canceled.
Yeah,
Enterprise is the worst Star Trek.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
That says something.
I'm really hoping Discovery doesn't become it, and I'm really hoping that we're still in a time where we can all appreciate Star Trek, because I feel like the 80s and the 90s were a perfect time for Star Trek shows, and I'm not sure how it's going to fit in now.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see. We are also coming up on a break. When we get back, we're going to talk to you guys about a little bit of Chrome. Mad Max, that is.
I know. I'm excited.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Witness the Golden State Media Concepts Science Fiction Podcast. I'm Shay Northrup.
And I'm Pauline.
And we are going to lead you down a furious road, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about Mad Max. Now, first thing on the agenda, and then I'll pass it off to you, Pauline.
Ooh.
It looks like in December, George Miller is releasing the black and chrome edition of Mad Max Fury Road.
Ooh, I want it.
Now, what this edition entails, and I think it has the original film on it, I'm not 100% sure.
Ooh.
But.
No.
The original film is in, like, Mad Max Fury Road.
Right.
What they're going to do is they're also releasing it in a black and white. Because George Miller said that the best version of the Road Warrior, which is my favorite in the Mad Max series, by the way.
I watched that one.
Yeah, it's so great. It's such a great movie. Get it on Blu-ray. Like, it looks great on Blu-ray. Anyway, Road Warrior, he said the best version of the film was one that was in black and white that they sent to the composer. So that way the composer could make the music for it.
Right.
And he said that was his favorite version of Mad Max. Road Warrior. So he's like kind of toyed with the producers about doing and releasing a Mad Max in black and white.
Right.
And they weren't able to fit it on the original DVD and Blu-ray.
Okay.
With all the extra content and everything. Because they actually made sure to make a decent DVD and Blu-ray. Like
Right.
most companies just are throwing us garbage DVDs with the same templates and stuff, and it's really annoying. But they're releasing it in a black and white version, and he says that he's kind of worked with some of the editors and the color graders and that sort of thing to really give it that Mad Max feel in black and white. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Like, I know black and white is like the artsy way to go, right?
Right.
But I love Mad Max, and I would love to see it in black and white. And I
I
wonder
kinda like that idea.
what kind of extra element that'll bring to the film. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll take away or it'll give to it, because Mad Max, despite the fact that it's a film set in the post-apocalyptic time period, is kind of colorful in a lot of ways.
No, yeah. So I'm wondering, but see, then I wonder if what we're gonna watch is gonna be kind of distorted, like our opinion, because we've seen it in color first. You know, it's like that, comparing it to that. I think you got to watch it with like a clean slate, and you know, without comparing it to the one in color, because I don't, you know, sometimes you can, you know, that's kind of sticky when you do that, because if he,
I feel like I could appreciate both, though.
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah,
I feel
think
like that's
so.
not too much of a
I wouldn't
change.
be surprised though if people are like, oh, it's better in color, because they're comparing it,
Right.
and it's like, don't do that. Take each for what they're, you know. Take them for both.
Well, and it
they're
could
different.
add another depth to the film.
Yeah, I actually like that idea.
I like it too. What I'll probably end up doing is I'll probably end up buying the black and chrome edition and just sticking it right on my shelf next to my metal 10-cased
Right.
Blu-ray and DVD edition. I bought that the first day it came out. I just went, how many times? Like, I went and saw that movie 3 times in theaters because
I made sure I did too, actually, and that was my introduction to Mad Max, was Fury Road. And I kind of just saw, the first time I went to go see it in theaters was just because I was hanging out with friends and they wanted to see it. And I was like, sure, why not? You know, they're like, it has action in it. So I was like, all right, I'm down for that. And then I wanted to take my boyfriend at the time, because I was like, dude, you have to see this. It was a lot of fun.
Right.
And then my mom was like, oh, I love Mad Max. So she was like, let's go see it together. And I was like, let's do it, Mom. So luckily, I got to see it a few times in theaters too, which I enjoyed each and every time. And I thought it was a lot of fun because I noticed different things each time.
Well, in
Each
my
time I
opinion, it
watched
was the best movie of 2015.
Oh, definitely. Hands down, I think so.
Yeah.
That summer especially.
Yeah. Well, there was a couple of good things that came out later on, like Sicario and stuff like that.
Ooh, Sicario was good too.
But I don't think it's Mad Max good.
Mad Max, like I said, like how we did, I could see that over and over again in the theater.
Oh, yeah.
And I liked it. I liked it a lot.
I watched it one time with my buddies because I was really excited. I think we went and saw it opening night. Mm-hmm. And then because Mad Max holds a special place in my heart, because I used to watch those films with my dad when I was growing up. And like I had seen the other ones like a bunch of times. And I remember when I first heard about Mad Max coming out, I was like, oh no.
Right.
They're not remaking it, are they? What are they doing? And then I heard that it was George Miller, the original director, and I was like, oh, we're good.
Right.
And then I saw it, and it's like one of the most amazing films. It holds up really well with the other ones.
Right.
Although, you know, Thunderdome is arguably only good after the first, like it's bad after the first hour.
That's what, yeah. I haven't seen Thunderdome yet. I tried watching it, but then I was really busy at the time. So, like, I couldn't watch it in its entirety.
So I watched it with my friends, watched it with my girlfriend at the time, who she hated it. Like, she did not like it. That's fine. We're no longer together. And I think I went and saw it again, like, by myself. Like, just because. And I bought it first day it came out. Great movie. Now, I believe there's some rumors.
There are some rumors.
Why don't you tell us
So
about
if
that?
you love Mad Max, you're going to be excited because there are rumors that there's going to be a sequel.
Yes.
So, which is very exciting. And it's rumored to be called Mad Max The Wasteland, which, you know, is going to be really cool. And they're planning on filming it in Australia, which is kind of cool too.
Yeah.
But there's kind of like a backstory on this because there's no set date for production yet. There's no it's just like rumors and things, and like of course we all want this to happen. But there's have been okay, what I'm trying to say, I don't know why this is so difficult for me to say, is that there is like a storyline already. Like there's already stuff out for
Yes.
it's basically just to start filming. So
It's
go
really-
Shay, because Shay can't hold it in.
This is some really juicy information.
It's actually kind of cool. Yeah, if you hear the backstory on why this is actually a rumor that could manifest into some real stuff.
So back in 2001, when 9/11 happened, the American dollar collapsed against the Australian dollar.
Right.
Which meant that 30% of their budget for Mad Max
was basically gone.
Just disappeared.
Right.
So, and then also, in Australia, the desert rained for the first time in 15 years. So they couldn't shoot the film.
Right.
So they had been there's been all these problems, and they decided that they wanted to just dig down and make sure that every vehicle, every person, every religious artifact was just perfect. And they did. Everything has its own character. In the process, though, they ended up with 3 scripts.
Yeah.
So,
which is cool.
Yeah, which is really cool because
that's 3.
They want to do a prequel. Mm-hmm. And they're thinking about doing a sequel. Now, some of the things that I've heard about this is they want to do a sequel involving Max without Furiosa, which, yes, because we need more Mad Max. And the thing about Mad Max is not... He's a drifter. Mm-hmm. He's never in the same place more than once.
Right. He's not going to... Yeah.
I have a personal theory that each story is a different story about the same man who may or may not exist. It's an urban legend.
Okay, gotcha.
That is talked about in the wasteland to bring hope.
Right.
That's the way I like to see Mad Max.
Oh, okay.
Because it
I
makes
that
sense
theory.
with how young the new Max is compared to Mel Gibson.
Gotcha. Oh, right.
So that's my theory.
Right.
I don't think it's actually legit because I think actually every single movie is canon in the series about Max. But I like to think that they're legends about this guy.
Right.
So they're thinking about doing another one with him. And then I've heard rumors that they want to do one about Furiosa.
Yes, which would be great.
Now, if they're going to do one about Furiosa, don't call it Mad Max.
True. Okay.
Call it Furiosa.
Yes. Yeah.
I would watch a movie just about Furiosa, and I know there are a lot of people that would.
She's pretty cool.
She is BA.
Yeah, to the max, literally to the max.
She holds up with Mad Max as far as awesomeness.
Mm-hmm. She's pretty cool.
Yeah, and this is exciting news for me because I'm glad George Miller is still involved. I'm glad that we'll be getting more prequels and sequels and more just all the Max that we can take. And I don't care how long he takes. Yeah. I will wait.
I think so too.
I will postpone death to watch Mad Max movies.
Which would be awesome. I think that they should, because one thing, and I think I've said this before, but I know that one thing that I did like about Mad Max Fury Road is that there's not sex in it. It's just action. It bothers me. So I'm give us some more of that.
Well, the sex stuff that is in the movie, you don't see.
Right. And
they
it's not
hint about rape.
Exactly.
And they hint about these little things. Mad Max is not one of those movies that hits you over the head with how bad this place is. There's a lot of little subtle things.
Right.
And I could talk all day about this movie, but I'm not going to.
Right. So I just hope that they stick with that fashion because that's what I love.
Well, the other ones, I think that there was some a little bit of rape and stuff like that in some of the other ones, but it wasn't done distastefully.
Right.
It was done a little bit more modestly.
Mm-hmm.
So the movies all deal with difficult subject matter. I mean, the end of the world is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, and some of those. Yeah, some of the characters I'm
No, I could just imagine though. I was just thinking the Grim Reaper is knocking on my door, and I'm sorry, buddy.
Can you hold on?
Mad Max
15
comes
more
out
months.
I promise you can take me as soon as the movie's done.
Oh gosh, that's not something to joke about. But I get it. No, I'm very excited. I really do hope that they come out. They are actually planning on still doing it in Australia again,
of course,
which would be awesome.
If they did it anywhere else, it would be false.
Right. So I'm very excited for that. It's going to be really but George Miller is actually working on some other things.
Yeah, well, he wants to do another film before he does another Mad Max film, and I don't blame him.
Yes, but
his legacy isn't just Mad Max.
Give the people what we want.
Believe it or not, I believe he did was it Happy Feet?
Oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure he was the director of Happy Feet too.
I love it. I love
so
that.
Mad Max and Happy Feet.
Actually, I love him because I that's me right there. Sometimes I'm feeling Happy Feet. Sometimes I'm feeling Mad Max. Sometimes, And
I think that's a great place to leave off for a break. So when we get back, we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about an up-and-coming film, The Passengers. If you want to get your hands on Mad Max, Fury Road, Black and Chrome, it's coming out this Christmas. So...
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Science Fiction Podcast. I'm your favorite host, Pauline.
And I'm your not-so-favorite host, Shay.
But he's my favorite co-host. So, you know, it like we're
at least on this show, right?
Yeah, no. On every show. No, well, okay, we'll just stop right there. So anyway, so...
Yeah, you're going to make some enemies
I
here.
was going to say... So right before the break, we were telling you guys that there's going to be a new sci-fi drama that's going to be, it's actually coming out this year, December. It's set to open in the US on December 21st and in the UK on December 23rd. So just in time for like when everybody's home for the holidays and you can go.
I'm sorry, passengers. You look like a good film. But you're going up against Star Wars.
But
did you think about that?
But
they're going up against Star Wars.
Okay, so I didn't think that Passengers looked that good. And I'll tell you why.
Okay, please do, because I might agree with you.
I think it's going to be like a romance.
Well, yeah, it's a romance.
I don't want that. I don't want to see people making out on the screen. I want to see action. I want to see death. I want to see, which sounds terrible, but I do. Like, I don't care about that part. Like, and it's anyway. So Passenger.
Do you just hate love?
No, I don't.
What it is?
I don't hate love, but it's like, we don't need to watch them making out for 15 seconds. Like, or my personal favorite, and I mean this sarcastically, is when like something is about to happen, like they're about to go battle and like get like that one last kiss. Like, girl, just go save the world. Like, you don't need that last kiss. Like, forget it.
But they could die, Pauline.
Who cares? Like, just, you probably wouldn't have died if you wouldn't have wasted those 10 seconds making out and staring into Dreamy Boy's eyes if you would just did what you got to do. Like, or when they make, or maybe it's because like
those heroines don't need no men.
Yeah, I'm like, why is she always like, I don't like that when like she contemplates not saving the world for her love. I'm like, no, it's just a boy. Anyways, so Passengers, I don't know if it's going to be quite like that, but it's going to be starring Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt, which, you know, I like Chris Pratt.
I like Chris Pratt too. He stole my heart in Parks and Recreation. You know, but after seeing him in Parks and Recreation, it's really hard to take him seriously sometimes.
Oh, okay, yeah, I get it.
But he does look like it's pretty serious in this role. And oh my gosh, he was great in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I did like Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's like my favorite Marvel movie.
But basically, the synopsis of this movie is that Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt play passengers on board like a spaceship, and it's basically the concept is that the spaceship is traveling, and it's supposed to be traveling for 120 years to get to a new destination where they're going to start like new life on a new planet and whatever. There's over 5,000 people on board, and of course something goes wrong. So Jennifer and Chris Pratt, they are playing Aurora and Jim. Their pods, like that they're sleeping in there, where they're supposed to be like in hibernation, whatever, open, and they're awakened 90 years before they get to their destination. So basically way ahead of schedule. And then of course other things go wrong, and they have to kind of like deal with the fact that it's only them two that awoke and everybody else is still sleeping, and like they have to like, you know, kind of like get to know each other and kind of do that whole like...
Well, yeah, the trailer opens up with Chris Pratt giving a robot a little
a note to take her on a date.
She takes it to her, and he asks her on a date. So their pods open up. Well, okay. So here's one of the things that I want to talk to you guys about. I have a little bit of a couple preconceived notions about this film,
right?
Just from watching the trailer, and because I've watched a lot of science fiction films that have involved the whole "oh no, we woke up too early" thing. It's a very common theme. This movie looks like it's beautifully shot. Their spaceship looks like the Deep Space Nine space station from Star Trek. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, yeah.
And so in the beginning, she asks him, well, why did you get on the ship?
Right.
And then at the end, he's like, we didn't wake up on accident of the trailer. So what this says to me, and so Jennifer Lawrence is playing a writer from New York who's interested in cosmic travel, and then Chris Pratt is a mechanical engineer from Denver who wants to leave Earth. Mm-hmm. Now, one of my preconceived notions is that Chris Pratt probably has a reason he's on there. Like, it's either because he met this girl at one point and just fell in love.
And he's following her. Creep.
Or he did something really, really bad.
And he's running away from it.
He's a criminal, and he's running away from something.
But they found him.
So I think what might end up happening here is we might end up having a situation where Chris Pratt's character is the reason that both of them woke up at the same time, because he doesn't feel like he has a chance with her or something like that. And he wakes them both up so that way
he can have a chance.
She's
forced. He's literally the last guy on Earth.
Yeah, literally forced to be in love with him. And that, I don't know. I'm very interested to see where this is, but I mean, at the same time, guys, you're coming out at the same time as Rogue One. If I am put in the position
to make a choice
between Passengers and Rogue One, I'm sorry.
No, I agree.
You lose every single time.
I just don't want it to be too lovey-dovey.
And it looks like, well, it's that kind of movie. It's that kind of movie. It's romance in space. They got the romance for the ladies, and hopefully space will bring in some guys.
No, we don't want it. We don't want the romance.
You know, and speaking of Star Wars, I've been talking about how I wanted something about Rogue Squadron. Mm-hmm. Like, since I was a kid. Like, I remember playing the games and reading the books, and like, this needs to be in the universe on the big screen.
Right.
We're finally doing it. Looks like there's going to be a strong female character. Really excited. Sorry, Passengers, you may have your strong female character. You may be a cute love story. It may be an Oscar-winning type thing that you guys are trying to do, because I feel like this is a movie that's coming out just for Oscar season. You know what? I noticed that like Oscar season spawns a lot of these like person alone in space type movies.
Right. Well, I think it's also because NASA's going to need some new recruits soon. So they're just wanting us interested in this so that, you know, the young people that are growing up now who are going through high school and stuff can get good grades, join the Air Force, and join NASA.
Yeah,
that's my take too.
Get some smart kids.
Because they want to like ship people off to Mars and stuff like that. So hopefully this will go according to plan, and then people will be like, oh, I want to try and find love.
On a spaceship.
No.
Anyway.
I don't like this idea.
Yeah, well, I'm willing to give it a chance.
No, I'll probably watch it. Because like you said, a lot of girls are probably going to want to see it. Some of my friends are probably going to be like, oh, it's sci-fi, let's go. And I'm about to be like,
I think it's really funny that like Chris Pratt went from being this kind of disgusting guy on
now he's
TV
like a total like heartthrob.
Like a hunky hunk, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants Chris Pratt. Man, I want Chris Pratt.
Well, but I mean, it's going to be kind of cool because some of the technology that they have aboard the spaceship and things like that. So those kind of things are going to be kind of cool to see.
It looks like a pretty film.
It looks good. I do like it. I'm just hoping that there's not too much romance that I'm just like, ugh, ew. Like, you know, ew. I want to see some action. I don't want them to end up, you know, lost together and then it's just them two and then they
macking on each other the whole
time. And then, you know, that whole thing, and then they land wherever they're supposed to land and they're like, we can do this together because we've been through so much. I don't want that.
Or she'll just be like, you're a creep.
Yeah, hopefully.
I love you anyway.
Oh yeah,
that always happens.
Always.
Anyway, that is all the time we have for the show today, guys. We have just talked to you guys a little bit about Star Trek. We talked to you guys about Passengers. We talked to you guys about Mad Max and Legion from Marvel. And that about wraps up our show. Why don't you tell us where they can find us, Pauline?
So you can always find us on the network website. That's gsmcpodcast.com, as well as iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. So, if you want to listen to this episode again, if you don't want to, you don't have to. You can listen to our previous episodes. You can listen to our future episodes.
All of the other amazing podcasts.
Yeah, we have a lot of podcasts on the network, so we have a little bit of everything for whatever you're into.
Also, please remember, we are on Twitter. We are on Facebook. We want to hear from you. We love our listeners, and we want to know what we can do to make the show better. Better for you.
Better. We do. Do we?
We do.
More romance. See, here we go. I'm just kidding. I sound like a little surplus today, but whatever.
At least we didn't talk about Squirrel Girl.
Oh, gosh. So let's get to wrap it up. I'm Pauline.
And I am Shay Northrup.
And we'll talk to you guys later.
Stay soft.
I was wondering if you're going to fit it in.